Hi guys, Shelly here with the Gray Wren Nest. Thanks for joining me today. You're going to really enjoy this. This is my brother, David, and he is along for the ride. He is with me at my school district, and he's my videographer today. Today, I'm going to share with you the app that I always talk about, Repper, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use it with our students. And you get to meet the owners. The owners are going to zoom in, Alex and Wouter, and they're going to introduce themselves to the students and you as the audience viewing. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below, and we will make sure that we answer your questions. I want to thank Wouter and Alex for sponsoring this video and partnering with me. And here we go. And I'm so excited to share with you today. The main reason that I want to come in and share with you is that I'm on a learning journey myself, and I have a side business. I do sewing and quilting and crafting and all kinds of things under the Gray Wren Nest. And some of you know my channel, some of you don't. Some of you, how many of you remember me when I was your principal way back when? Yeah. And then I see some new faces too. But it's really exciting to see you at this age. And pretty soon you're going to be out and on your own. And I wanted to give you a way to earn passive income, and you can actually start now. Because I imagine most of you are, what, over 16, 17, 18? Is that about the right age? And I know for a fact what I present today, you can be as young as 13 to make some of this passive money. But you would have to have parental permission to do so. So today we're going to talk about how to change a doodle into dollars. And I picked, I'm going to show our friends up on our screen, and I'll introduce them here in a second. But this was hanging in the hallway at school. And I thought, wow, all of those pictures are really cool. And this one caught my eye due to all the different colors in it. So I wanted to show you how easy it is to take your art, even if you scribbled on a piece of paper, a whole bunch of different colors, you're going to be able to do some amazing things with it. And before I actually do my presentation, I want to introduce you to some friends of mine. They're from Denmark, and they own this pattern making app, and it is a really cool concept that I'm going to be sharing later on, but I'm going to let them do the introduction, and then I'll come back to my presentation, okay? So, Wouter and Alex, I'll let you take over and introduce what you need to, and they can see you on the screen, okay?
So this is us two, and you're already looking at us. You look much longer, but basically, Alexander and I have been working together for a long time. And we're originally from the Netherlands. Quite simply, we're both living in Denmark, going different places, and we've been interested in how design and technology and creativity interact with each other, and how we can build software that can help people unlock their creativity. So we actually started our business in 2007, which is quite shocking because I realized that probably that's older than almost anyone there in the room. So we started about 18 years ago. And we started with one simple idea, which was that everyone can be a designer. We were tinkering around with how you could maybe improve the way that you can make patterns to make it faster so that you can iterate faster. And we had a little idea, and we built a prototype of it, and we put it online, and we were quite taken aback that there were tens of thousands of people trying it out. And it's also the first lesson that I want to share with you is that it can often be hard to predict what will take off. We had built various things, and some of them were quite a bit more advanced than this. But it's sometimes hard to predict what resonates with people when you have an idea or a little prototype. And sometimes it's good just to make something, put it out there, even if it's in a pretty rough shape like this was, and just see what happens. And it's a great way to get feedback early on rather than spending lots of time building something, is building small things and seeing what resonates with you. Next slide, please. One little fun note was that, like, it was, among other places, it was featured on CNN. I'm not sure if it was on the TV CNN, but it was definitely on the online CNN. And you can print it on a product, so a tote bag or a mug or a mouse mat. And so we added those features and we improved the UI a bit to make it more attractive. But what happened was that absolutely no one bought something. Like, why is that happening? And what we realized was that, for one, we had a lot of casual users who came in for the fun of making a pattern, but they were not there to buy a product. So they were like, they came for part of it, but not for the product we were offering. On the other hand, there were also more like serious creatives, and they were emailing us saying, like, we really like what it can do, but like, can you make it an actual piece of software? They didn't come there to buy a mug either. They came there to make a design and then download it and do something. So I guess the lesson you can take away here is that it's important to think about like you want to try to sell something that speaks to the people who actually show up. It seems quite obvious, but it isn't necessarily, because if you go to the next slide, I can show you an interesting example that we had, which was that we also had a laser engraving machine in our studio, and we actually laser engraved a banana because we thought it was funnier, and we put a pattern on there, and we were able to get it to in various places like the Telegraph reported on it, Make Magazine, and so on. And we got a lot of attention, and we saw big spikes of people coming in, but they were still the casual people. So even though, you know, with this little marketing effort, you could say, we got a lot of people in, they were not necessarily converting. So it's important to keep in mind, like, when you're doing marketing efforts, who are they speaking to? And of course, a larger group has the potential of converting more people, but a targeted one might actually get you more than that. So if I can go to the next slide, please. So we took that to heart, and we actually built a desktop application where the features, like, there were more features, there was more workflow, and so people were able to use it as a more serious tool. And that was interesting because we kind of got a little bit away from the mantra of, like, everyone can be a designer. I mean, not saying that not everyone can be, but what we did was we shifted and focused on the most passionate users. So that means that, like, it was important for us to shift and say, like, okay, this particular product, this particular tool is maybe more for the people that already have an affinity. They already want to make patterns, and those people are willing to also buy the product. So it might sometimes be necessary to take an original idea that you had and pivot it a bit away from where you were sitting before and say, like, okay, what I'm building here is actually for someone else that I initially intended it for. Next slide, please. So this product, like, was around for a while, and then in 2019, Alexander saw that the creators and the tooling was moving online, and he was quite excited also to see if we could rebuild the product and build it for the online era. And so with his new coding skills and some design skills that I picked up along the way, we did a whole rebrand and a redesign of the product. And we built it again from the ground up. It was actually a big gamble, but it paid off in the end because we saw steady traction. And this is something that you'll probably run into yourself as well. Once you have developed something that, you know, whether that's a store or a product line or a series of designs that are doing well, the question is, will I stick with what I have or what seems to work? Or do I make a fresh start and try something new? That's always a hard decision, but it's good to reflect on that every now and then and think, like, okay, am I now at kind of an optimal spot, or can I, you know, go to the next step? Is it worth the investment? It's a challenging choice, but if you always stick with the path that you're on, you might not be able to make those bigger jumps. In our case, we were able to attract a much larger audience by moving it online and making it much more accessible. Instead of downloading an app,
Now you just go to the website and you use it straight away. So that was a big difference. Next slide, please. And as we had this version out, we kept on adding new features to it. And one of the things that we did was that we switched our business model. It used to be that you just bought the desktop app and that was it. We actually switched it to a membership. And that meant that people who were using the product would be paying for it yearly. Now, not everyone was happy with it, but it was a very important decision for us to make, because the only way to support a niche product, and it's quite likely that, and I would recommend you to start with a niche product as a way to kind of carve out an area where you can specialize in. It is important that you try to get your true fans and allow them also to support you. So you want to find ways to get your biggest fans to sustain the work that you do. And in our case, it was important that we could keep on developing new features for them, that we could continue supporting the product. And that shift really helped for us. So think about the business model. You know, are you selling something that you sell once? Can you sell a range of products that people who really like your work, they can also buy, they can buy more from you. That's a really important aspect to look at when you're, both when you're launching, but also along the way when you're extending. Next slide, please. Another thing about running a business is that you might be doing stuff that you're not so familiar with. So in our case, we love building software, designing it, and implementing it. And we weren't so familiar with questions like, how do you do customer support? And how do you do marketing? And how do you make sure that you have supporting materials? So one of the things that is good to keep in mind when you start is that you probably start on something because you have a passion for it. Like if that's creating graphic designs, or in our case, making software, you start with that passion. But when you set up a business, you can expect to also be spending a lot of the time, maybe half of the time or even more, on other things. You also want to develop those to be able to succeed, especially early on. You might not be able to get people to, you might not be able to pay people to support you. So that means that you'll have to do all those things yourself. And in our case, we were, for instance, looking to reach more people and help them make better use of Repper. And so we started making videos online. We got help from a friend of ours to make those videos. But that was a whole new domain for us. We hadn't made much videos. And that was something that we had to step into and figure out along the way. And if you look at our YouTube channel, look at the earliest videos, and you look at the latest videos, you'll see the process that we went through and the learnings along the way as the videos got better. So, yeah, next slide, please. Now, Alexander has a couple of key questions that you might want to start with. Take it away.
Yeah, we would like to end our presentation just by asking you some questions that we asked ourselves that we think are really important.
This is where the lesson shifts over to my side. I want to share with the students what sets me apart from everyone else. Why would I use Repper, and how will I use it in order to differentiate my product from everyone else's? How do I reach my audience? And also, what do I offer that others may not? Well, in my field of crafting, I love to create and make things out of fabrics. But I want to be able to call that fabric my own. So today I'm going to show the students how to take a doodle, put it in Repper, and create a pattern, a repeatable pattern, to put on fabrics such as clothing, bedding, quilting, embroidery, you name it, it can be done. And I'm going to show you how. So step one is to pick the doodle. I picked that student's artwork, with her permission, of course. I took a picture of it and cropped it and saved it on my phone. And then I uploaded that picture into Repper. So this is Repper, and I'm going to just let it play out. So this is the picture that they uploaded, and all you do is move this little box, and it makes all these different prints in an instant. And then you can save them on the side of the toolbar. I mean, there's really no learning curve to this at all. If you can move a mouse, you can make a print. So I brought up Jenna's pattern in here, and this little triangle right here, this square, and this piece, slice of the pie I call it. Look at that. And if you like the pattern, then you click over here and save it. I usually download mine as a custom tile at 6,000 pixels so that I can take it across a yard of fabric with no problem. Next, I showed the students how to open up a free online storefront. I use Fourthwall, and I use this site because it is 100% free with no overhead on my side and no extra work for me. I simply upload my tile, put it across some fabric, and make shirts and all kinds of items. Products up on the internet and sell it that way too. And the neat thing is that this is completely free. I don't pay to have my stuff up there. Etsy, you have to pay for. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that you have to pay for, but be cautious of the ones that you actually have to pay for. Try to find all your free stuff out there. But here's where the fun stuff starts. So I took her item, her picture, and then I went into Fourthwall and I found a blank canvas tote bag, a book bag, shirts, a notebook. This is an iPhone case, and shoes. And I put the print on those items. And those items are now up on my, well, those aren't because it's not my print. But she could actually duplicate it from her picture and put it out there to sell. I'm just doing this as an example. Pretty cool, huh? And it didn't, there's no work on my side. Think about if you have a store, physical store, then you have to have all of the material that you buy for overhead. You have to have a physical storefront for people to come into, and that costs money because you have to have rent and electricity and laborers. A store in the cloud, you don't. You just upload a picture. Pretty amazing. And here's a closer look of what was on the screen for the students. The last thing I shared with the students, online store at Spoonflower. I did the exact same process. I took a tile, a Repper tile, I uploaded it to Spoonflower, and then I spread it, I repeated it across a yard of fabric. And I was able to see it on bedspreads, curtains, blankets, pillowcases. So what's the difference with this site and the Fourthwall site? Well, the Fourthwall site is more of producing products that are wearable. And this Spoonflower site is more of fabric items, soft interior fabric items for your house. Plus yardage of fabric that I can turn into anything I want and call it my own fabric line for sewing, quilting, embroidering. Can't get any better than that. It's a pretty easy way to make money. So I just wanted to make sure that you could see something in your future that might help you out, especially if you're going to go to college and make a little bit of extra income on your side. Because it's an easy way, and I'd be happy to talk to you after this as well. So I hope you've gained something from this just as much as the students. And stay tuned for part 2, because the students now are going to play with Repper. They're going to make a tile. We are going to upload it to the cloud.
And you just wait and see what happens with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Was my free